Hi everyone, Andrew Fazekas here, the Night Sky Guy, your host for the Night Sky this week for July 10th, 2023. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you had a great weekend. Maybe perhaps you did some sky watching, saw a few things in the night sky. Share them in the comments. I'd love to see them. And if this is the first time you're here, welcome. I am here every week, basically sharing some of my tips on observing the night sky, maybe perhaps from your balcony, backyard, if you're in the city or countryside or a typical suburb, or maybe you're taking your dog for a walk somewhere and on the streets and you notice some lights in the sky. I hope to help you out in determining what those things are in the sky, what those little points of light. There's a lot of things always going on in the sky, and I love to share my passion with all of you. And if you'd like to, please consider subscribing to my channel, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you are. Just make sure you subscribe, hit that notification button so you don't miss any of my videos or my sky charts updates that I give throughout the week. So why don't we dive right in? First off, I wanted to mention the sun. There's been a lot of talk about, perhaps you've heard of auroras, northern lights, because there's a lot of activity on the surface of the sun, flinging off a lot of charged particle clouds towards the general vicinity of our planet, and that sometimes can generate beautiful light shows we call auroras or northern lights. And these are all thanks to developing in very unsettled magnetic field areas on the surface of the sun. Let me show you. I've got a photo of the sun, a live image of the sun here available from my friends at spaceweather.com. This is what the sun looks like today. And you can see that it is filled with sunspots. Look at all these sunspots. In fact, this big one here at the lower left is actually so big that if you just wear like normal eclipse glasses, if you have some handy that protects your eyes, because you never want to look at the sun with your eyes without a special solar filter in between you and the sun. Otherwise, you can really damage your vision. So be very careful. But if you do have those eclipse glasses, put them on and take a look at the sun, and you'll see that larger smudge, that larger pimple on the surface of the sun. That is actually what we call a sunspot. It's a cooler region of the sun. It's an unsettled magnetic region, and that's where solar flares can originate from and produce a lot of activity that can affect the space weather around our planet. And you can see that one called 3363. That one down there in the lower left is now facing towards the Earth and could produce a lot of activity, throw some charged particles our way, and could really, trigger geomagnetic storms slash auroras, northern lights for us to see. There's not much that has happened in the last few days, but that may change anytime this week. So do keep that in mind. So I just wanted to share that with everyone because I think that's really, really cool. Of course, we'll talk about now about the night sky. Why don't we just drop into Sky Safari Pro, my planetarium program. Fantastic program that shows us what the sky has to offer. And I've got the sky set up for July 10th, Monday evening, just after the sun has set. Looking towards the western sky, what are we seeing? Well, of course, our friends Venus and Mars are readily available. You can see them hanging out in the western sky, Venus being the brighter of the two. There's no doubt. Look at that. I'm going to just zoom in on these guys and look at that. There's Venus and Mars. Now, there's something else. Mars is, of course, this orange-hued dot in the sky. It looks like a star. Both of these planets look like stars to the naked eye. If you want to reveal their disks so that they look like something more than a star, then you need high magnification. So a small backyard telescope is going to be your friend. It's going to be the tool of choice for you to be able to zoom in, say, on Venus and reveal the disk of Venus through a telescope. And let me show you what that would look like. Looks like a miniature crescent moon, doesn't it? It's really cool. It's one of the coolest things to be revealed with a small telescope is the phase of Venus. And of course, you can see the sun, the same sun that shines on Earth and the moon is shining on Venus. And it's giving that very distinctive crescent shape to our neighboring world. And this is the view through a small backyard telescope. So it's really a fascinating thing. Highly recommend it. Bring out that telescope after sunset, maybe wait about 25 minutes, a half hour, and then get a clear view towards that west, find an observing spot, and just look at it. It's so bright, you can't miss it. It's easy to find, and it looks fantastic through a small telescope. Look at that. Look, just zoom in. That is what you can expect through the view through a small telescope. Check it out. It's really cool. Don't wait too long because, of course, Venus is going to be setting after the sun, going down towards the horizon here, as you can see. But it's really, really cool to see. So anyway, just checking in on that comment section. I see folks from all over the place. Richard, great for you to join me. Thank you so much. Elza is on the west coast of South Africa. Beautiful country. I had the pleasure of visiting Elza, South Africa many years ago. I actually did my postgraduate studies in the Kalahari Desert, and it's just absolutely a beautiful, beautiful country. Highly recommend it to anyone to visit, and the skies are just breathtaking there. Who else we've got? We've got folks from other places as well. Put your location in and do share. Love to see that. What else is there to see? Well, as I mentioned, Mars is just above Venus, right? And joining Mars is a very bright star. It's one of my favorite. It's called Regulus. And those of you that tune into my broadcast know I've talked many times about it because it's in one of my favorite constellations, Leo the Lion. Now, if I go 1 hour later after sunset, we've got on our Sky Safari Pro, easily we can see the outline of the constellation Leo the Lion. And Regulus is this little white guy right here. Let me just see if I can zoom in on it. Right there. That's Regulus right there. And Regulus marks the heart of the lion. And it used to be called Cor Leonis, meaning the heart of the lion. Very beautiful star. It's a blue-white giant. It sits about 78 light years away from Earth, and it's going to be positioned right next to Mars. So the contrast in color between these two star-like objects, one is a bona fide star, which is Regulus, but then the one next to it, the orange coloration of the star next to it, is the planet Mars. It's our neighboring planet, and you can see distinctly, even with the naked eye, that orange hue. It's very distinctive. You don't want to miss that. And what's really neat, of course, if we look at Mars, how far away is Mars? Mars currently is 339 million kilometers away, and it takes the light from Mars. Remember, it's reflected sunlight bouncing off the surface of Mars. It takes almost 19 minutes to reach your eye. Almost 19 minutes of travel. That's how far away, 339 million kilometers away, right? The speed of light is at about approximately 300,000 kilometers per second, and it's still at 339 million kilometers. You can do the math. It takes almost 19 minutes for that light to reach us. So we're looking back in time 19 minutes when we see Mars. And Regulus next to it, that one is 78 light years away. Not light minutes, but light years. So what we mean by that is it takes 78 years approximately for the light from that star, Regulus, to reach your eye. And isn't it amazing? We see these two vastly different objects. And we're talking about watching this with the naked eye. These vastly different objects right next to each other that we can see with the naked eye. Easy peasy, even under light pollution. This is something that you can see as long as you've got a clear view, a clear sky. This is, again, tonight, this is what the view is going to look like after sunset, maybe about an hour after sunset, looking towards the low western horizon, something that you can see. It's really just beautiful. As Mirna says, amazing, absolutely amazing. It's something really cool to just ponder while you're looking at the sky at this beautiful duo that are vastly different, orange and white, blue white, just beautiful colors. And of course, if you have a binoculars, you can see the pairing even better. So that's what's great. That's what it looks like tonight on Monday. But let's say if we roll Tuesday, and I want to show you what the pairing will look like. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So imagine this is towards the western horizon. There's the pairing. And watch if we kind of switch out the day. There's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look, see they're coming apart. They're moving away. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the two star-like objects, Mars and Regulus, will appear to separate from each other over the course of the next few days, during the course of this week. And you can watch that unfold just with the naked eye. And you're going to ask, I know, why is that happening? Why are they appearing to separate? Well, it has to do with Mars and the Earth orbiting the sun, right? So we orbit the sun, and that's what we can actually see how the two planets appear as they orbit, right? I mean, it's really amazing that movement of the planets, our own and Mars, is depicted in the sky as it separates, because Regulus isn't going to be moving much. It's Mars, that because it's so close to Earth, that is actually appearing to move. So highly recommend it. Do check that out. It's really something very cool to see with the naked eye, nothing more. So let's move on to those of you guys that are up maybe in the early morning. There's stuff to see then too. So if we kind of go into the time and we head into the hours, switching hours. So we're going into the overnight, and I'm going to zoom out, look towards the eastern sky. There is Saturn. This is already just past midnight, by around 2 o'clock in the morning. Look what's happening. If you're up late overnight, look towards the east and you'll see a beautiful pairing. So this is Tuesday morning, pre-dawn hours. Look for a crescent moon and Jupiter pairing in the constellation Aries the Ram. Just gorgeous pairing. Again, this is Tuesday morning. And if you wait until the dawn, this is what it will look like. Isn't that gorgeous? And you have Saturn way over here off to the right. There's Neptune too, but you need a telescope or very strong binoculars to find Neptune. It's a very, very, very faint planet. So I would say, unless you were really keen with telescopes, forget about Neptune. Uranus also is on this lineup, but very difficult to see as well. You need binoculars to see, and you really need to find that green dot. That's what Uranus appears. It's a lineup of the three. You could try it. It's a great observing challenge if you have binoculars to pick out this green looking little disk that'll be next to, on the opposite side of where the moon is to Jupiter. On the very opposite side, you can see Uranus. But really what I want you to, most of us, look using just our naked eye, looking towards the eastern sky. Again, this is going to be Tuesday morning, July 11th. This is the pairing. If we view what it'll look like over the next few days, by Wednesday, look at this. Remember, we were just talking about Uranus? Well, the moon is going to be now on the other side of Jupiter. We'll hop onto the other side of Jupiter. This is again Wednesday, July 12th, and it'll be pairing with that faint, distant planet, ice giant, Uranus. And Uranus is this, again, like I said, a very distinctive greenish hue. And with binoculars, you can cut through the glare of the moon and try to hunt down Uranus. Now, you'll know it's Uranus because it is green in color. It's very distinctive. There's no other green star or anything in that part of the sky. It's the only one that'll be distinctive green. And just use your binoculars to scan that sky. How distant the two will be, this is about simulation of approximately the field of view of an average pair of binoculars, something like 7 by 50. Pair of binoculars that you might have. Most of us have that kind, but try it out and scan the sky. You can see on the lit up portion, just past the lit up portion of the crescent moon, and look for that greenish hue that is Uranus. Now, Uranus, you remember, it's an ice giant. It's very distant. It's past Saturn, right? It's the next farthest planet past Saturn. And look at the distance. This is what I want to, this is the awe factor, is currently it sits over 3,000 million kilometers away from Earth, right? That's 3 billion kilometers away. And it takes light a whopping 167 minutes for the light to reach your eye. So that's, 1 3/4 hours practically that it takes the light from Uranus. Remember, it's sunlight reflecting off this planet, the atmosphere of the planet, and bouncing off of those high clouds, and then traveling through interplanetary space, reaching your eye. 167 minutes back in time you're looking at when you're seeing Uranus. So that is an observing challenge, I would say, for Wednesday overnight pre-dawn sky. Look for Uranus just next to the crescent moon. It's a great guidepost for helping you find this really elusive planet. Something neat to see. Also, something I wanted to point out is if we go a little earlier, so while it's dark, before dawn, okay, pre-dawn, we're talking about, let me just reset this to hours on my Sky Safari Pro. And what I want you to notice is a beautiful star cluster. Again, something, if you follow me, we've talked about this in the winter sky. This is traditionally a winter evening constellation. After supper is where you would see during the winter months in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it would be during the summertime that you would see this. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's called the Pleiades star cluster. And the moon will be sandwiched on one side between Jupiter and on the other side, the Pleiades star cluster. If you have dark enough skies before the glare of this coming sunrise, you should be able to see with the naked eye this little fuzzy collection of stars. With binoculars, it's a cinch, no problem. So you can check. So this is again Wednesday morning, okay? Wednesday before dawn. Look for the Pleiades on the opposite side of where Jupiter's to the moon. So the moon is sandwiched between these two beautiful objects. Jupiter, of course, being a knockout to the eye. It's a yellowy, creamy colored, super bright star near the moon. And just about a little bit farther away on the other side is Pleiades. Now, if you have binoculars, just scan the sky. Use the Jupiter and the moon as a guidepost and just continue scanning the sky from right to left until you reach that beautiful Pleiades star cluster. Fantastic sight. Don't miss that out. And guess what? It gets even more interesting. This is again on Wednesday, right? July 12th. What about July 13th? On Thursday, if you didn't spot Pleiades on Wednesday, you try on Thursday morning. The moon, the very whisker-thin moon, is going to be posing with the Pleiades star cluster. Just a beautiful sight. What's interesting is that cluster of stars, they're baby stars. They're actually teenagers. We think they're about 100 million years old, the Pleiades. So just think of that when you look at that collection. And they're located about 444 light years away from Earth. You're looking back in time almost more than 4 centuries, almost 4.5 centuries back in time when you're looking at the light from these stars. And binoculars really show Pleiades off very nicely. This is what the view is. This is actually a beautiful image taken by an amateur astronomer through their backyard telescope. And you can see this collection. It won't be as bright as this, obviously, but those stars, those 7 stars, they're also called 7 sisters, by the way, this star cluster. It's just gorgeous with a pair of binoculars. Don't want to miss it. And the moon is going to be positioned next to it Thursday, the 13th of July. So don't miss that out. Now, just to finish off this week, we're going to be heading towards a new moon by the end of this week. And this is going to be very good for deep sky watching. And I want you guys to look in the evening sky. I'm going to go back to in the early evening. When it gets dark, early evening in terms of darkness, we're talking probably after 10 or 11 o'clock at night at this time of the year. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, it's late night observing. You have to wait for the glare of dusk to go away. And the best constellation this time of the year that you should be looking for is Scorpius, the giant arachnoid constellation. Scorpius is really truly an ancient constellation. The Greeks and Romans saw this beautiful collection of stars that form this kind of giant hook in the sky. Now, for those of us that live in, say, northern latitude, so around North America, Europe, Northern Asia, this is a constellation that is very low to our southern horizon in the evening, late nights. But this is kind of like the best time for us to see this. Those of you in the southern hemisphere, it'll be much higher in the sky for you. But right now, for us in the northern latitude, July is the best month to really see as much of Scorpius that you see here high enough in the sky. Now, for me in Montreal or New York or Washington, D.C., Rome, Italy, Tokyo, this is kind of the view that we would see near the horizon. It's the highest that we can see it. And the more south you are, closer to the equator, the higher this constellation will be in your sky. So you'll have an easier time maybe into August and September. I mean, I can see part of it, but not all of it here in Montreal, but July is really the best. And I want you to look at this beautiful orange star called Antares that marks sort of the eye of this constellation. Here you can see a close-up photograph with some nebulosity around it. It's located 550 light years away. It's the brightest star in the constellation Scorpius, making it really easy to find this star, even under light-polluted conditions. If you're living in a typical suburb of a big city, look for it in the southern sky after darkness falls, right? So you may have to wait until 10 or 11 o'clock near midnight to really see Antares, but boy, it's a gorgeous orange, distinctly orange star. Check it out. It marks the eye of the scorpion, the ancient mythological scorpion. And another thing is a pair of stars, of blue giant stars that are about 500 and 700 light years away, marking the stinger of of the scorpion, and it's the Lambda and Upsilon Scorpii. Their common names are Shala and Lesath, and it's right here. You can see this is the tail of the scorpion. So it's going to be really low to the horizon. This is something where you need a clear view towards the south. So find an observing spot at night. Anytime this month, July, is a great time to check this out. But look for these two stars. One is distinctly white and brighter of the two, and the other one is a little bit fainter but distinctly bluish in color. So Shala is white, Lesath is blue, and they're 500 and 700 light years away, this pairing. They are known also affectionately as the cat's eye pair. So cat's eyes is another little way to remember this pairing. Check that out. It's the stinger of the scorpion, and then you got the eye of the scorpion marked by the super bright Antares star. Just gorgeous. Something to get you going. Find this constellation. I want you to become familiar with it, and we'll come back to it in the coming weeks, and I'll show you some really cool things that are happening inside. And just to whet your appetite, get your binoculars out, look at this area of the sky, and you'll be amazed. The Milky Way galaxy center is actually located just off to the side, just above the stinger, this cat's eye pair right here. This is the center of our galaxy, 28,000 light years away, and it's chock full, this area, of beautiful nebulae, gas clouds, star clusters, you name it. It's just absolutely spectacular, and I want you guys to just use your binoculars to scan it, and on a clear night, you won't regret it. It is absolutely amazing. So, love to see your comments. I can see you guys are talking up a storm there. I'm going to join the conversation after. Thank you for sharing your thoughts about stargazing and some of these objects. Maybe you've seen some of these things already. Maybe these are new things, new adventures awaiting you just by stepping out of your house or your apartment, wherever you're living, or looking through your window. Maybe you're stuck inside. I don't know. Whatever your situation, there's stuff to see in the sky. The moon's out, planets are out, stars, clusters, you name it. And it's all for the taking. And it's a heritage for all of us, humans. This is something that around the world, if you've got a clear sky, you can see stuff. And you don't have to be an astrophysicist or some expert in astronomy to have wonder and curiosity and enjoy this just by yourself, or maybe with friends and family. So take a few minutes, enjoy the night sky. Before I go, remember, if you like these videos, please do consider supporting me by subscribing to my channel, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching, Twitch. I'd love to see you sign up, subscribe, because it does allow me to keep bringing these videos to you every week and share my knowledge that I've gathered for over 4 decades of skywatching. I've been doing it since I've been a little kid. I own 12 different telescopes. I've been members of astronomy societies. I've done projects, all kinds of things in amateur astronomy, and I love to share my passion. It's something so fun, and it's ready for everyone. So sign up, join my stargazing community. I'd love to have you as a stargazing friend. So with that, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you stay safe and healthy. And until next time, I wish all of you clear skies. Bye-bye.